Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome back. As you can see by the title, today we will be talking about the Society of Dermatology Nurse Practitioners, the only organization dedicated solely to nurse practitioners. There are other dermatology organizations out there, but their sole focus isn't just NPs. You know, I talk about the Dermatology Nurses Association all the time. They're the first and largest organization dedicated to nurses and nurse practitioners. So with DNA, they're the only ones talking to nurses. All the other organizations are talking to NPs. So specifically when we come to SDNP, they just announced their inaugural Emerging Scholars Program. At the time that I'm filming this, it is the month of December, December 2024. I'm on sabbatical this month, and so I've been doing some batch content. I'm in the social media space, so I talk about my experience in the social media space with you. And one of the things that I talk about is how to avoid social media burnout. One of those ways is batch content. I don't typically do it on this channel, but I'm doing it this month to see how it works out and to give you some tips. And so actually, I just finished filming the video you saw last week, and it ran. I like to keep it. I would love to keep these to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but as you can see, I'm a little bit long-winded, and so we were right at 60 minutes. I like to keep it at least there. It's easier to transfer to other platforms if I ever choose to do that, and so 60 minutes is a good cutoff. There's better cutoffs, but I haven't gotten there yet. But you guys say it's so helpful, so thank you. Your feedback is necessary. But anyway, the time that I'm filming this, I don't know if yesterday was the announcement, but yesterday was when I saw that the Society of Dermatology NPs announced their first Emerging Scholars Program. So we're going to get into the details of that today. I didn't get to finish talking about everything I wanted to talk about last week. And so I am going to talk to you a little bit more in detail today about the blog, Mahogany Dermatology, what we have going on at the podcast, not only in terms of what we're showing you, the public, but behind the scenes and what I'm doing there. We'll get into the Diversity in Dermatology Conference. We'll go through a little bit over the agenda. And and give you updates on the DMV Dermatology and PPA group. And I think that will wrap us up for today. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison. I'm a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner who specializes in dermatology nursing education and research with specific emphasis on skin of color. I've been sharing my journey on social media for the last 2 years as a budding entrepreneur. And through that, I have just not only fallen more in love with derm, but since learned all the different ways that you can specialize in derm. I spent some time talking about that last week because it has been coming up a little. It's been my experience to learn that. And then with all of you coming to me the same way I came, it's just a joy for me to be able to share with you, not only derm specific, but as clinicians, how we can lend our expertise, not just as people with active licensure, but even our retired colleagues. There's so much value we can contribute. So I'm so happy to even have this perspective and to share it with you. Like I said, at the time that I'm filming this, I just attended a brunch by the National Black Nurse Practitioner Association. I had the pleasure to meet one of you and who's in their DNP program. And, you know, like I said, I'm into research. That's my thing. And she wants to do her project in derm. So at the time of this, we did talk a little bit about some ideas, but she has scheduled a chance for us to do a brainstorming session. And I'm just thrilled and excited about any way that I can assist. In just a couple of days, my current NP student, my mentee who's in DNP school, his project is focused on dermatology, and we have our first meeting with a clinical site that has agreed to let him come and do his do his project there. So that's going to be super exciting, and it's just a pleasure to meet you. I met her today in person. I met someone on video chat and via email. Thank you all who made purchases in the virtual preceptor shop. So before, in case we get cut off and I don't get a chance to tell you, I invite you to join the community. All the links we talk about today are in the description box, as well as how to work more closely with me. So that's through the Mahogany Dermatology blog, where I drop articles every week. The whole mission there, like I said, is to increase awareness, access to education to nurses and nurse practitioners. My journey started just like most of you. As a nurse practitioner wanting to get their first job in dermatology, only to find out, or it didn't have to be your first job, just was trying to get your first derm job, let's put it like that. to find out that as a nurse practitioner, you didn't meet the requirements because they required Derm. Anywhere from 1 to 2, some places 3 years. And yes, people do get jobs without experience. A lot of people will get a job by participating in some of these comprehensive programs designed for NPs. But still, the learning curve remains steep. And so that's where mentorship becomes important, community, and having strategies on how to learn and consume so much content when you're practicing and trying to live your life. So that's what I do over there. I drop our videos weekly here during my Nurse Practitioner Entrepreneur Diary series. And it's become where I'm answering your questions. First, it was me sharing my journey. So in the beginning, this time last year when I did Vlogmas, I talked about all this equipment that I use for the podcast, but I use it here too. So I talk about social media. I try to give you a tip so that you can reach your goals and also not get burnt out, but maintain consistency. That's the hardest thing with social media, is because it is time consuming, but there are methods that can help you get out content, get out your messaging, connect with your audience, and maintain be consistent on the platform and have some longevity, because people can do things for a lot of things for a short period of time, but to be able to do it for a long period of time is where the real challenge is. And there are so many tools out here to help you be successful. So yeah, videos here. And then, the DMV Dermatology and PPA group, and our new sister group, Derm NPs and PAs of Atlanta. We're a networking group for NPs and PAs who practice or aspire to practice in medical, surgical, or cosmetic dermatology. And what do we offer? We offer community. We have a members-only page on Facebook. That's where we communicate, we share information, ask questions, make decisions about our in-person events, and also where the group goes, right? Because we do get outside solicitations. And so I come to the group and I say, how do you feel about this? And they make decisions about that. So, but for those of you who don't want to be on Facebook or don't meet the criteria, because you have to be verified with a license or as a student before I let you in. And just some people aren't on Facebook. I wasn't even on Facebook before all of this. So I get that. And then some people have boundaries when it comes to social media, and you're just busy, right? So we've made it so easy for you. We have created a link so you can sign up for our email notification list so you can be notified when we have things going on, as well as for our events. So you can go over there and see what we have going on and sign up. We just wrapped our first winter meet and greet in Blacksburg, Virginia. Shout out to Caleb. He's the advisor out there. He is a practicing Derm NP, and we were sponsored by Arcutis for that. At the time that you're watching this, we are just days away from our first meet and greet in Richmond. The advisor there is Caleb, another practicing dermatology clinician. He's a PA. He's doing fabulous, by the way. Again, Arcutis has been super helpful with that. And it's supposed to be the 18th. We're still finalizing the head count, the time, and the venue. But somewhere else in social media, I have provided that update for you. And then, and then I'm out here working, partnering with my peers in the industry, the Diversity in Dermatology Nurses Association, the Journal of Clinical and Aesthetic Dermatology, their MPPA Perspectives in Dermatology. They invited me to be on their editorial advisory board. And I'm also on the board for Hair for You, which is a grant-funded program by the American Nurses Association right now, the research team is working on creating competencies for assessing and caring for the scalp and hair, all hair types, at Children's Hospital in Washington, D.C. So at the time of this, the pilot is beginning right now. This is an 18-month commitment, and they have their pilot going on. There's an app associated. There's a whole kit. They're rolling out education. They're doing phenomenal. It's another way I didn't mention last week. Last week I went through different ways you can specialize in dermatology. And this is another way to lend expertise, right? As someone who's really into the literature and out here on social media, it made me a candidate to sit on this board, and I'm super excited about it. And I can't wait till the research is done and we're able to share everything that we've discovered and to continue that work, because this is just the first iteration of that. I welcome you to join the community. You can always do a video call. We brainstorm about ideas, give you advice on how to get in. When it comes to advice and an actual strategy, I created the virtual preceptor shop, which I'm thinking about rebranding. We'll talk about rebranding soon. But anyway, there are digital resources there for you, from how to be a nurse, Well, the first one, I think, if you're going to go, if you consider this a series of collection, I would say, well, you can do how to be a nurse, right? That's just your thought process. See what the industry looks like in terms of nursing, academia, the different entry points, how long is each program, how much is it going to cost, how can the military benefit you? So that's what you'll find in that book is an interactive guide. It serves two purposes as a workbook, but also if you want to give a presentation to like a youth group, it would work really good in a CNA program. Oh my gosh, I just thought about my good friend who has a CNA school. I should tell her about this book. But yeah, it would be great for that. And any setting where you're mentoring and giving career advice, or you want to give a career exploration presentation, it works for that. Even if you're not in nursing or healthcare, you can open it and know exactly what to say. It is designed to be interactive and promote engagement with the audience. And so I used that when I had a career fair out in Maryland, a nursing career fair. Instead of doing PowerPoints, I like to give people things they can take away. So created that career fair. I would love to duplicate again. I gave the presentation, and then we had programs that came, local programs that came. They set up tables, even had the military there. We had two. I want to say the Navy and the Air Force. Shout out to my love bug for helping set that up. He is a veteran of the Army. And it was just great. It was really great experience. Alicia and Geraldine came out to support. And I would love to see more of those. I just love being in the community. I just can't tell you how much I really love being with the people. And that's another way you can specialize in derm. But so what was I saying? Why was I saying that? Well, I don't remember anymore. I'll have to watch this back and see. I was talking about all the ways you can connect with me. And the books. Yeah, so you can start with that book, and then you can go to the mentorship guide book, which to me is the most valuable book in that collection because it's going to help you get a better understanding of what it is you want to do, right? Since you were a kid, people have been telling you what to do, and you've been following that path because it feels like wise advice. But my encouragement is that you just stop and hear your own voice. What would you do if you didn't have to worry about time, money, age, gender, fear, what other people think, what you think, your past, your failures? If you didn't have any of those, what would you do? Really ask yourself that. And so in this book, it helps to help you be more introspective, to be able to have any conversation with anyone about who you are, where you're trying to go, and your ability to contribute. And it can be repurposed for conversations, for partnerships, scholarships, personal essays, for my internship application, which closes on December 15th for the Mahogany Derm Nurse internship. Bio, you can just use it for so many different things. But from those of you who have purchased it, the feedback has been consistent that it's helped you really think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that's a small investment compared to going through a whole program, changing your whole life around to be in clinicals and orientation and the equipment that you have to purchase and the papers that you have to get signed. Like if you can just answer these questions up front and figure out this is what I want to do, or it's not what I thought it was, or maybe I can go in this route. So that's what that's there for. And it helps you be an active participant in the mentor-mentee relationship. Someone said a good mentor is really busy, right? And so how can you bring value to that relationship? It's not just about you taking, and it's not just about you saying, I'm so appreciative. Like, how can you add to that? Because the doing is how you learn. Everything I come on here and tell you guys is from the doing. And then I just share it. And I learned so much just by lending my time and talent. And it's exposed me to so many things. So that whole imposter syndrome is a real thing. But when you get out here and just do it, like nursing, you will learn so much. And that's what I'm here to hopefully expose you to, all the opportunities that are available. So those are those books. From Bedside to Dermatology, step-by-step guide that will teach you how to start. That's what you guys asked me. The Derm NP starter kit. Again, don't have to Google your life away. You can start learning today. You can start making a name for yourself. You can start building a CV that's derm focused, making yourself derm centered. That's all they want to hear about. And so in those books, I teach you how to do just that. And then I have the Dermatology DNP Project Ideas book. That will be out soon. That's going to be it was going to be a small book, but now it's a really big one. It's going to be my first like hard copy publication. And so taking a little bit more time on that one. So everything's in the description box. We're going to do our devotional, and then we'll get into our topic for today. So this is a series. Every week we come on here and I share my journey in real life. And so one of the things I think is so important is that if you're in the business of taking care of the people, you have to take care of yourself too. And we start with our devotional because taking care of yourself includes spirituality. And so we read this devotional. I don't have any updates on my physical health other than I'm still using and loving my walking pad. I was thinking about biking today. I have a bike. It needs to get tuned up. But I was thinking, what if I had a bike in the house? I could really get some stuff. I was just thinking about how great biking makes your legs look. I was like, I miss that. I haven't rescheduled my mammogram yet. I did talk to, I am close to getting a referral for a mental health provider. And I actually meant to ask about a women's health provider today when I was at the brunch. But I promise this month of December, that is on my list. This week, I do have my next appointment with Leah Waller. She's my Derm PA out there in Reston, Virginia. This will be our first telehealth visit since I relocated to Houston. And I just found out, actually, at the brunch, there is a derm on social media, brown skin derm. She just moved here to Houston. I looked up to see like if she has any appointments, but I don't see that you can schedule anything with her. So, and the person who told me said she just moved here. So is she starting her own practice? We'll see. If you know, let me know. I am still looking for someone. Leah was going to try to refer me to someone here. And the person she was going to refer just moved back to the DMV. So I am in the market for someone because, she told me I can get laser. So I don't want to pay for it. So if you're one of my derm friends and you want to hook me up for 3 sessions, I'm available. Okay, let's get into this devotional. This one's called, so this is the Holy Bible app. It's free. They have plans. You can look up topics or in the healing devotional at the moment. And so this one is titled Pray with Expecting Faith. In various healing narratives in the New Testament, Jesus healed people in response to their faith. This does not mean that he is not sovereign, but rather that his sovereignty, he has decided to respond to our faith in certain situations. The case of the healing of the woman with the issue of blood, narrated in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 5, is a great example of healing by faith. This woman suffered with an issue of blood for 12 years and spent what she had on doctors and medicine, but only got worse. One day she heard about Jesus and believed that if she touched him, a miracle would happen. She pushed through the crowd and reached out and touched Jesus in faith. In that moment, healing was released from Jesus and she was healed instantly. He acknowledged that power came out of him and that the woman was healed by faith. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." Biblical faith is grounded in the understanding of God's will as expressed in his word. Faith grows in our hearts as a response to the understanding of God's will. It is confident expectation that God will meet our needs. Faith is the bridge that connects the provision of heaven to the needs of earth. The woman healed of the issue of blood is a clear example of expecting faith. Before she touched the clothes of Jesus, she had the conviction that she would receive her miracle because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. Mark 5:28. Multitudes have received extraordinary miracles in our evangelistic campaigns, and it is common to hear these similar stories. Many have said in their hearts, I know that Jesus will heal me, before receiving a miracle from God. In that book of James, we were taught that if we were going to pray for the sick, we should pray in faith. And the prayer offered in faith will make the sick person well. The Lord will raise them up. If they have sinned, they will be forgiven. Putting it into practice, when you pray for healing, make sure you pray in faith and not in doubt. Pray with eager expectation and unwavering assurance that God is with you. He's listening to your prayer and will respond with a miracle. Next time, we'll learn about petition prayers for healing. Today's scripture comes from Mark 9, chapter 9, verse 23. What do you mean, if I can? Jesus asked. Anything is possible if a person believes. Okay, so the Society of Dermatology Nurse Practitioners, if you're not familiar, like I said, they are the only organization dedicated to nurse practitioners. I was a member for a while there, and some of the things that they offer, they do online webinars. You can actually, if you have a topic, that's another place. So I mentioned organizations in the previous video on ways that you can teach, or maybe it was this video. But you can submit your proposal for a topic and you can be a speaker. Actually, one of the most memorable ones I remember is Dr. Samantha Castleman. She's a doctorally prepared NP, pediatric derm. She's an entrepreneur out in Arizona. She owns Happy Skin. I've used her model in setting up my own practice. And she taught me about Canva. She came on and talked about being an entrepreneur and how she created, at the time, it was mind blowing. She was like, she had created this checklist for patients. It was just like the fact that I heard a provider say they created something and then they used it. It was it was a new world for me. And so ever since then, I've kind of followed her a little bit from the background. So they do these online webinars. And then they do the annual conference. And at their conference, which I think is unique from DNA. I don't think DNA does this, but they have or maybe now I'm getting them mixed up. No, I think, yeah, they do a whole section for reviewing for the certification. So you don't need certification to practice in dermatology, and there are requirements before you can get certified. I want to say it's either 2,000 or 3,000 hours. I can't remember. It's up there, but that might be like 6 months. No, maybe it's not more than 6 months. Maybe, anyway, I don't know what that equates to, but anyway, you have to work under a dermatologist for a certain number of hours, and then you have to get like recommendations in order to even meet the criteria to take the exam. And while certification is not required in nursing, we do promote certification as a standard of excellence, and it shows your commitment to the profession. It increases your confidence, not only for you as a provider, but it increases our peers and our patients when they see too that we have dedicated and invested in our education. So that's one thing that they do at their conference. And outside of that, I would say there wasn't that much. And so they did establish a new board this year. And right now the president is Melody Young. At the time of this filming, she just gave a wonderful presentation for us, for BCI, management and communications. So, diversity, I work with diversity in dermatology, which is co-founders are Risha and Andrea, and Risha owns BCI, and so she puts on meetings throughout the country as well as these virtual programs, and so that's who sponsored this program. And Melody Young, she's a Derm NP. She's been a Derm NP for a long time, well-respected, well-known, and phenomenal teacher. I loved her presentation. Is it Kibumab? I think that's what we talked about. But it was phenomenal. I watch a lot of these webinars, especially the ones about drugs. And this was a standout one. She caught my attention the whole time. I think that's what we talked about. I can. Anyway, it was really good. She was really good, and I enjoyed it. So yeah, she's the president right now, and so since I want to say since the new board came on, there's been more social media presence, more webinars, and then just yesterday, they announced the inaugural Emerging Scholars Program. So I thought it might be fun to go over the application with you all. I wanted to go over their little mission too, real quick before I jump into that. So the mission of the Society of Dermatology Nurse Practitioners, otherwise known as SDNP. A lot of people know about SDPA, maybe because they're the marketing and they have the fellowship program and they have their conference. Because I know a lot of times when I tell people about SDNP, they're not familiar, but they do know SDPA. But anyway, their mission is to promote excellence in advanced practice dermatology nursing. SDNP is the only exclusive dermatology nurse practitioner organization. There are currently about 5,000 dermatology NPs who are part of the integral fabric of dermatology landscape. These dedicated clinicians deliver high-quality dermatological care in medical, surgical, and aesthetic dermatology. Their vision is to promote the highest quality of care in advanced practice dermatology through education, specialty certification, evidence-based clinical practice, and interprofessional research. Sounds very familiar. And then they go and tell you what a Derm NP is. So since one of you had that question, I did talk about it last week. This is a good time to get into it. So a Derm NP is an advanced practice registered nurse. That means you have your graduate degree. It can be FNP, it can be adult. You're licensed as a nurse practitioner, and you conduct assessments. You do diagnosis, management, treatment, evaluation, advocacy, for people and communities with conditions affecting the skin, hair, and nails. Like nursing, we approach patients using a holistic approach, and your independent practice. And so you enhance your profession by participating in developing curriculum, educational programs, writing publications, and engaging in policy. All the things we talk about here and that I talk about on all my platforms, especially I think all the platforms and the blogs, something I believe strongly in. And so their statement regarding collaboration. SDNP promotes the concept that each member practice to the full extent of their licensure and training. They believe that the best patient outcomes come when each member of dermatology team provides evidence-based, compassionate, holistic care to meet the needs of the patient. We support those NPs who practice in states that recognize nurse practitioners as licensed independent providers. Love that statement. And so, let's see. So right now, I think the only way you can get involved is to be on the board. They don't have like kind of smaller committees at the moment. And funny enough, in my DNP dermatology DNP project book, one of the ideas that I was proposing that you could do for your project is you could collaborate with them to create what perhaps this program is. Because I told you when I was in school, one of my colleagues, shout out to Dr. Amy McCarthy, she's actually the president of the Texas Nurse Practitioner. I want to make sure I get this right before I lead you down the wrong way. She's the president of, she's the Texas Nurses Association. Is that what TNA is? But anyway, during her program, yep, TNA president, but I don't know what TNA stands for. It seems like Texas Nurses Association. Anyway, we went to GW together for our DNP, and in her DNP program, she worked with Nurses on Boards Coalition, and she helped establish their pilot mentorship program for leadership, or for board representation for nurses. And so that's where this idea comes from. You can, align with an organization. Particularly, I was thinking SDNP since they didn't have anything, because when I talk about SDPA, we know that they have their fellowship diplomat program, which is very popular. You can be an NP and take their program. It's been around for quite some time. And so I thought, what better of an idea for a project than to work with them to establish something like this? Now, I think this is 12. We're going to get into the details. But let's say, for instance, it's 12 months. Even if the official program would be 12 months, during the course of your DNP program, depending on how soon you could start your program, it could be 12 months. I mean, the DNP programs are typically 2 years, but most students don't collect data for 2 years. But I think that's a lot because it takes so long to figure out what it is you have to do. They don't have that much time. I'm hoping that by talking about it and making myself available and creating this book for you, that maybe you can hit the ground running a little bit faster. But even if you didn't implement a full 12-month program, you could implement a miniature version just to roll it out, kind of work out the kinks, and then they can implement the full version. And so, pilots are usually a smaller scale of the bigger vision. So anyway, when I saw this announcement, I said, I have to go back in the book and make some adjustments. And I still think you could do that project because, first of all, once they get this data and see how this first inaugural goes, you could still meet with them to see what they use to develop it. I'm sure they use a lot of evidence-based stuff, but that doesn't mean that they wouldn't be open to revamping it. So anyway, we'll see. But yeah, so anyway, that was, like I said, that was my colleague in DNP school, Dr. Amy McCarthy, who is now the president of Texas ANA. So yeah, Texas Nurses Association, I think. So that's where the idea came from. So shout out to Amy, because so not only did I support her and respond to all her discussion boards, I participated in her research. So she recruited mentors and mentees, and she matched us up. I could have picked either to be a mentor or mentee, but I don't know if I've been that vocal about looking for mentorship. Well, I did on Instagram. When I first came on Instagram, I used to talk about it, but I've done so much mentorship, I still do. And I have, I've been eager to receive that, that caliber of mentorship. And so I was hoping to get some of that during that experience. And it was very positive. It ended up being a little bit more reversed. But that's still fine. But anyway, it was a great project, and shout out to Dr. McCarthy. So let's go over this application. So you can go to SDNP, you can fill it out. This is open to members as well as non-members. So this groundbreaking initiative is designed to empower and accelerate the careers of early dermatology NPs. So you can apply if you have 0 to 5 years of experience. Like I said, members or non-members. And what are the benefits? You get advanced education, professional development, networking opportunities, and pre-conference initiative. So there are some requirements. So to be considered, you must meet the following. Working within the first 5 years as a practicing Derm NP, be able to attend the conference in Indian Wells, California, May 1st through the 3rd. And this includes a pre-conference workshop on May 1st. You're required to attend the Emerging Scholars meeting on May 1st and the full conference the 2nd and the 3rd. And then if you get selected, you'll receive an invitation to the pre-conference educational session. You'll have a unique professional development experience. Oh, so you know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if those are that's the program. Is that the conference? You'll get 3 nights at the 3 nights at the conference hotel. They're going to provide that. Complimentary registration for the conference, access to all the conference sessions, so you'll get your CEs, all meals and networking events. Recognition, this is sponsored by Johnson & Johnson. They have a reception for that on the 2nd. You get acknowledgement and all the digital materials. And then you get a certificate. It's funny. I didn't even read all of that indeed. I don't know if I just made an assumption about it. And that in participating that you had to be available for the conference, but I wasn't thinking that it's all at the conference. When I read this, that's the impression I have actually, now that I'm talking to you guys. But you have until January 12th to apply. And so you can apply directly on the website. You just go there, and I've already put the link in the description box for you. And for some reason it won't. The way I have this set up and the way I have my computer set up, I can't even, there we go. I can't even see. Oh, by the way, they use JotForm. And so like I told you, for the DNP Dermatology group, we use Google Form. Even for the podcast, I use Google Form to collect data from people. But the book that I was reading, he's the creator of JotForm. I'm trying to remember what book was that. The last one I listened to, and so I haven't used JotForm myself, but I want to use it. And so when I saw they were using it, it was just another reminder. So if you're creating something and you need to collect data, even if you're going to do your own internship, you want to have like an application, that's an option. I don't know if it's free or anything like that. But anyway, that's a side note. And so you can click in here, you put in the application, you open up the application, you have to fill in your name, your credentials, when you graduated, where you went to school, contact information, who you currently work for. Sorry about that. He just had a birthday, by the way. You have to state if you're a member or not. If you say yes, if you say no, then they give you, I don't know if this is actually a discount. A link pops up so that you can join and sign up. But I don't know if that's a discount on the regular membership. Let me see. No, it's the same one. So yeah, if you're a student, and I should have told her if she knows that one. But yeah, if you're a student, you get your first year for free. But if you're practicing, it's $135, and it's also $135 if you click on the link through the application. They want to know if you've attended a conference before, where you work at in terms of specialty, medical, aesthetic, both, or other. And then there's like some fill in the blank sections. So if you've had and this is what I'm talking to you about in terms of preparing yourself, how you can make yourself a more competitive applicant. I've talked about you applying with patient care experience. Everybody applying has patient care experience. What's going to make you different, right? And these are other ways you can specialize in dermatology. This puts you in positions where people are looking for you. You're not just looking for them. It exposes you to more how you can lend your expertise. I think it helps with burnout so that you can feel like you have some power, that you can see some change in your influence doesn't always lead to patient outcomes in the way that you intend. But when you lend your time and talent to things like education, policy, public health, advocacy, professional organizations, things like that, you get to experience what that feels like, and it can be very fulfilling, give you a more well-rounded professional experience. So anyway, this part is not required that you have volunteer leadership experience, but it's there. Okay. Then they want to know, why are you passionate about dermatology, right? This is where I love this question, because when I ask people why they want to be a nurse, why they want to be a nurse practitioner, why they want to be in healthcare, it's the same. I want to help people. Now, the longer I get to talk to someone, usually there's some backstory, some personal experience. So always start with that. But I find that that's a little bit, you can't really get away with that answer when you say, why do you want to practice derm? Because you want to help people with their skin. That's not an answer, right? So I love this question, and the fact they want to know, why are you passionate about dermatology? There has to be more than what you see on social media. Right? It behooves you to do a little bit of digging. Certainly coming here, hopefully in a year, I have provided some content and resources so that you can go and learn more and study for yourself. I provide free resources so that you can make a low cost investment and get a high yield on your return, right? So hopefully, and certainly if you don't know how to answer this question, I can help you with that. Not just for this application, I mean, just for you. Like, how can you become passionate about something, right? And how do you know? The next question is, how will your participation enhance patient care? Fabulous question. And I would love to see how people answer this one, right? And I love, these questions are so thoughtful. You can only have 200-word limit, which is great, right? The economy of words. I know that's funny hearing from me, but the blog, the blog has helped me a lot. I posted some of my previous work from MP school that I would put on the discussion board. And you can see they were quite lengthy. They were lengthy in school. I did get very good grades on those. And I repurposed those, actually, right? They can live on again, have more life, longevity. But through the blog, because I target my peers, you guys who are super busy, I am very mindful of just getting to the point, making it clear, putting headings and sublines and bullet points, making it easy and digestible for you. So the blog has helped me when it comes to the economy of words. You can see in these videos, when it comes to verbal communication, I could still use a lot of work. So yeah, you do have to kind of get to the point. And we talk about that almost every week here, how to get to the point so that the person listening becomes interested to want to hear more, right? How do you get enough out in the beginning? It's like, okay, let's schedule a call and talk further. And then the more you do it, the more confident you sound, you're more prepared. It's very evident. How will you share your experience? A wonderful place to talk about social media or to talk about your participation in other organizations. We literally talk about this every week. Just last week, I talked about all the different ways you can specialize in derm. How are you going to disseminate your information, right? So I think they're a nonprofit organization, right? But it's still a business. They want to know, how are you contributing to this? I talk about this all the time. being an active, not just a student. Being a student is passive. I want you to think about being a learner. A learner is an action word. It's an active participation. Last week when I talked about being in orientation and being precepted and all that, I talked about how you need to own that. Again, when you're in a mentorship relationship, you need to contribute to that just as much as the mentee is giving you. How are you going to do that? And that's where the mentorship guide comes in, super helpful to help you get that. I hop on a call, talk about that with you too. But these are questions really for you before you make this commitment. Have a clear understanding of what you're committing to. Wonderful questions. Bravo. Okay. Then there's the last section on optional. Anything else you want them to know about you? Yes. You always want them to know something else about you. This is a great place besides the other ones, especially the volunteer leadership. And by the way, that volunteer leadership, I'm a huge proponent on volunteering in derm and in nursing. It doesn't have to be. This is where you can show how you're well-rounded, how you can bring other talents to the organization. Maybe your whole background is in interior design and you really want to help create a phenomenal in-person experience for the conference, or you have a tech background or a financial background. You want to help them improve the return on their investment or identify ways they can bring in more revenue. Like, don't be shy about your other talents and how that might benefit the group. And you need to also be able to pitch that and show them. Maybe they don't recognize it can help them, but that's a place where you can do that. In this last section, anything else you want us to know about you? Absolutely. What drew you to this? Why are you filling it out? What are your hopes? What are your fears? Those kind of things. It's an opportunity for you to just let them get to know you on a personal level too, right? So yeah, if you are applying and if you get accepted, share your experiences with us. Would love to hear about that. So yeah, I thought that was just really fun to go over for this video. I am excited to see what they do. And when it comes to all these programs out there, lots of people, myself included, have done more than one of them. And that's just like mentorship too, right? You can have more than one mentor. You can get something out of each of them, and so they all have something to offer. And you can never really get enough education, if you ask me. And so. Yeah, I don't know how many people they're accepting. So apply while you can. And I look forward to seeing how this turns out. So let me just pull up my notes, see what else I want to go over with you guys. I think we might wrap this one. And then next week we'll talk about the Diversity in Dermatology Conference, go over the agenda for you. And yeah, because we're at 40 minutes, so. Yeah, so go ahead and visit the Mahogany Dermatology blog. This month I dropped my favorite article. I think this would be like this is where I wanted to start the blog, really, in terms of like what I would write about. But you really can only write about where you are. And so the last 2 years have been about my journey. And you will see that. And you will see, even at the bottom, how I describe myself has evolved over the course of time. I just updated it this week too. And so I'm happy to get to this point and to be able to have a really clear vision on where I want to go, why I want to go there, and who I want to go there with. And you guys have been instrumental in that. In some ways, it's a full circle. All my experiences come together in this realization. And then your questions show me the greater purpose, right? And so I'm just so happy to be in this position. And it aligns with the life I want to live. I told you I cannot be in somebody's clinic 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. I am a dreamer. I'm a builder. I'm a free spirit. I need to be exposed to sunlight. I need to be able to travel. I need to be able to be free. And the lane that I have created, which is crazy, allows me to do that. And just by coming on and sharing my journey, you all have found me. I don't have to really go out and look for people anymore. I'm just so happy to be here. And so many people have made this possible. And I'm forever grateful. And so I just look forward to partnering more in the future. And I'm really excited about the latest iteration of the vision. And I'm really excited about that. And what we'll be able to do, and how I'll be able to better partner with people like the Society of Dermatology Nurse Practitioners. So everybody that's out here, that's been out here for decades, creating a lane. I'm happy to fill the gaps that have been present and to better prepare you all for what they have created. And so stay tuned for more. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the interns and getting a team of nurses together and to be able to make an impact in nursing, in dermatology nursing education and research, particularly, and in the market. So thrilled about that. So go over to the blog. I shared the essential dermatology textbooks for skin of color, medical, surgical, cosmetic, pediatrics, dermoscopy, infections, Asian skin. There's one by a licensed esthetician. And so most proud of that work. And also I gave a whole bunch of commentary on entrepreneurship, partnership, even fear, what I wish I would have known in the beginning. So that's a really good article too. It's not written like my usual style because these were comments in the comment section, but I had a lot to say, and so I kept the nature, the style that you will see in the comment section. But I think you'll find it. Hopefully you find it helpful. So as I've spent the whole beginning talking about how you can join the community. So I hope you found this video helpful. Certainly go and learn more about the Society of Dermatology Nurse Practitioners. Become a member if you're so inclined. But don't just become a member. Be an active participant. Like, look, I'm sure they love having your money. But I think 9 out of 10 of them would agree that they would really love to have your time so that you can help contribute to the mission, whatever that mission might be. And that's the best way to get your money. Someone else today at the brunch was like, yeah, I was just looking at how all these costs add up when you talk about professional organizations. And so if you're not going to be an active member, you're not going to help the organization. When you attend events, you're not going to talk to anybody. You're not going to do anything. What's the point? Why are you there? At some point you have to just stop and ask yourself, why am I here? What am I doing? How does being a nurse in dermatology help me achieve the mission, help me reach my destiny, right? It's not the other way around. And so I encourage you, when you have time, especially if you're a student, if you're a student or you're going to be moving on to a new role, take advantage of the transition. It's a wonderful time to sit back and stop before you move on to the next thing. We have such a habit of moving on to the next thing, and just stop and just listen to yourself. Ask yourself some questions and don't be afraid to take time to answer them. I think I know I'm a example of taking your time, whether intentional or not, that it can be a positive thing. It really can. But it can't be a passive thing. You have to be active about how you're going to spend that time. Is it just exposing yourself to dreamers and new places, new challenges, new opportunities? Sometimes that might be just what you need. So yeah, take the time to hear yourself. Okay, that's enough. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, you can hit me up through the blog. I am still on sabbatical, but I do check email. So, and continue to send in your questions. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.